Have you ever felt, or maybe you're currently feeling, like you're being pulled in multiple directions? So, time with your family, possibly commuting, and putting time into a nutrition philosophy that you're not aligned with because maybe you're working a clinical job. Believe me, you are not the only one. Dietitian boss Dion, she's been there too. Her clinical job required her to travel a lot and stay overnight. Dion is a mom with a 3-month-old baby, and this schedule was just not conducive, especially while breastfeeding. Dion realized it was time to jump into starting her own private practice because, like many of us, family is her number one priority. But how is she going to do it? I'm Libby Rothschild, creator of Dietitian Boss. Welcome to my channel. My program empowers dietitians to create private practices from scratch using proven processes that work. I'd like to help you get started even if you don't think you're ready. There's never going to be the right time, especially during pregnancy, breastfeeding, or dealing with the challenges of a COVID world. But you can begin, and my team will support you every step of the way. My program is called the Dietitian Boss Method, and it helps dietitians just like you put getting started at the top of your priority list. Dion knew that she wanted to go into private practice even before she went to school to become a registered dietitian. She comes from a family of entrepreneurs, and her husband owns his own business as well. Now, I realize that you can know from your core that you want to do something, but you can also feel very stuck at the same time, and this limits your ability to get started. And that's how Dion felt, just like several of our other clients. She felt overwhelmed, and she's seen firsthand the sacrifices made by the members of her family being entrepreneurs, and she knew that starting her business was going to take work and consistency. But she's up for the challenge. Dion was looking for more work-life balance, but was also afraid that having her own practice was going to take that from her. Dion says, "I found that since then, nope, that's not the case. Now that I have my own private practice, I have more of a work-life balance, and I'm really glad I took the first step." Now, that first step started over a year ago. One day, when Dion came home from work super frustrated because she was getting ready to leave the next day for a 3-day work trip, leaving behind her 3-month-old son and 2-year-old. She had a conversation with her husband, and she said, "How much longer can I sustain this?" And her husband said, "Well, I know you want to wait to do your own private practice, but just do it now. What's stopping you? I know you can do this, and you can really give us what we need for our family as well." And that was all Dion needed to hear, so she decided that night. She walked into work the next day with her husband's support and put in her notice. When Dion first went into private practice, her niche was just very general intuitive eating, meaning she specialized in helping people follow the intuitive eating framework. She came to me and said, "Libby, I need your help. How can I stand out? How can I really set myself apart?" She started the group coaching experience and started by following the Dietitian Boss Method. Dion focused her message of intuitive eating with prediabetes. And this organic shift felt natural for Dion because, well, Dion has prediabetes herself. Dion started doing market research, and she realized that there just weren't a lot of people out there specializing in prediabetes. She felt like the gates were wide open for her to come in and serve her clients. And her instinct was right, and this felt exciting. I want to share with you the 3 things that really help Dion save time and become visible to her ideal client. Tip 1, set yourself up for success. Cut out the middleman. Dion used to spend her time going around to doctors' offices in hopes that they would potentially refer a client or 2 to her, and it wasn't very effective for 2 reasons. Number 1, the doctor was the middleman that may or may not refer people to her. Number 2, if clients were coming to her, they may or may not be willing to do private pay, and Dion doesn't accept insurance. Dion began using social media to grow her business, which is more efficient because she wasn't spending all day going into the doctor's offices. She was sitting in front of her computer for a few hours a day, cutting out the middleman. She was going right to her ideal client. The women she works with don't need to be referred by a doctor to come to Dion, only to be disappointed that Dion doesn't take insurance. Dion has saved time and streamlined her entire process by cutting out that middleman. A goal of Dion's was to work part-time in her business and then spend a couple days during the work week with her kids so they didn't have to go to school full-time. Because she's grown her private practice, Dion has been able to do that easy breezy. There's plenty of time to work with her clients, focus on her marketing and her sales goals on the part-time days that she still has devoted to her private practice. Yesterday was one of the off days that she took off. She went to the park with her kids and then they went and got ice cream. Today, Dion's back to work. She's focusing on her marketing and group content for the next week. Dion maps out her schedule hour by hour. She says, I'll work on my content from this time, and then I'll get to this story at that time, and then I'll engage with my audience at this time. And she treats her schedule as a form of self-care, making sure that she gets everything done on the days that she devotes to her business so that she can go offline once her kids come home and really just focus on her family. And this decision feels super aligned for Dion and her entire family. Tip 2, build the know, like, and trust factor. Show up on stories and put your face in your feed. Dion, like some of you, identifies as a private person. So when she heard show up and show your face, you can imagine how that felt. She took the challenge and began posting in her stories. At first, it was a struggle because fear held her back and she had questions thinking, what are people going to think of me? Will I even be helpful? I don't even like the sound of my voice, so why would anybody want to listen to me? And then finally, do I have to put on makeup? Dion kept posting anyway, and she found that her audience didn't care if she had makeup on. They only cared what she had to say and if they could help that person, her audience, solve their biggest problem. Now, it's really important for Dion to be a resource for her audience, so she pushed past that initial fear and showed up as the expert in her space. When she first started showing up as an expert in the diabetes space and talking about being able to eat fear foods like white rice and white bread, Dion had some haters come out of the woodworks. Dion stayed strong, but inside she was a little doubtful. She turned to the Dietitian Boss program and asked for feedback. Her colleagues and Team Dietitian Boss supported and encouraged her. Now, several months in, with many successful clients who have lowered their fasting blood sugar using the approach that Dion teaches, that's the best confidence boost ever. Showing her face in her feed when she makes infographics helps Dion's ideal client know exactly what Dion stands for and how she can help them solve their biggest problem. Her audience trusts her, they know her, and they come to her for guidance. Dion is the expert. Dion's graphics used to be very text heavy and they didn't speak to how she could help her ideal client. But now, not only does Dion show her face, but she also highlights her clients' successes and celebrates their wins. She shares that they have more energy, they're sleeping better, they have gained confidence, and that they know what to eat. Dion said that in the past, she would listen to the Dietitian Boss podcast for inspiration. She would hear her colleagues say, just do it, and it gets easier as you do it. And she thought, well, if they can do it, I can do it. I've overcome bigger things in my life. What do I have to lose? She took their advice, showed up on stories, and as she said, it does get easier with time. Dion's marketing has brought her so many opportunities. She's been on several podcasts, and a few months ago, she was approached by a publisher for a pre-diabetes book to interview her and write a book. What an incredible opportunity. She's been approached by other healthcare professionals asking for advice, which has helped build confidence in herself and in her message. Number 3, map out financial goals. When Dion first started working with Team Dietitian Boss, we mapped out her financial goals. She set short, medium, and long-term goals. Short-term goals are the stepping stone to reach your long-term goals. These are goals that can be accomplished in a few weeks or a couple of months. For example, creating 30 days worth of content or time blocking 5 hours a week to complete market research and create your content. Medium-term goals include anything you set out for the next 6 months to a year ahead of time. For example, codifying your nutrition philosophy, feeling comfortable on sales calls, and embodying a dietitian boss growth mindset on a day-to-day basis. Long-term goals can include anything in the future, maybe a couple years out to 5 to 10 years to 20 years. For example, where do you see yourself? What life do you want to live with your family? And how much do you want to travel? Or buying a summer house in Sedona, Arizona, where you can vacation with your friends and family, or paying off student debt. What's important with long-term goals is that you get specific so you know the direction you're moving towards, and that really helps you build your mindset. A lot of women are afraid to talk about money, especially us dietitians. And it's so important that we just get really vulnerable and comfortable talking about where we're at and where we want to go as we're setting these goals. And the Dietitian Boss Group experience gives you a community where you can start to do that on a regular basis and just get more comfortable. Dion's first short-term goal was to make $2,000, which she surpassed in the first 2 months of the Dietitian Boss program. She went from working one-on-one with her clients to running group programs. After she opened up enrollment for her groups, she was able to surpass that $2,000 goal. Dion was able to increase her confidence on sales calls. Now, she looks forward to them and enjoys getting to know her ideal clients, their struggles, their pain points, and how she can serve them. Dion's mindset includes that this is her job and her business, and she's helping solve a big problem for women, and it's okay for her now to ask for the money that Dion deserves with the service that she provides to her clients. Dion's next goal is to make $2,000 a month consistently. Her long-term goal and her dream is to be a six-figure dietitian, meaning she's making anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000 a month. She's got it all mapped out, and it's in the books. She says, the more women that I can help, the better. I love the group setting because it allows me to speak to more women. I can help more women in less time, and it also helps me reach my sales goal because it's a more efficient way to make money. When Dion first started her private practice, if you remember, her main goal was to try to improve her work-life balance. She says, now that I'm here, I feel so happy. I feel like it's even better than I could have expected. You too can start a successful private practice without knowing where exactly to begin. You can learn. And the first part involves showing up and showing your face. The key in the story and the conversation about getting started and becoming your own boss includes making a commitment to just start. The Dietitian Boss method provides step-by-step guidance on how to clarify your message, make content for your ideal client, create a program or offer to sell and enroll clients, and then get paid in cash. The best part of this all is that the process feels good, better than you expected. And don't forget, you can start anytime, even when you're breastfeeding with one hand and making mac and cheese with the other for your toddler. You can become your own dietitian boss. If you feel inspired and you want to learn more about other moms like Dion who've started their private practice, check out how Jen has launched her group program and made $20,000 by following the Dietitian Boss method during her third trimester.